Okay, so cinema chain Cineworld has recently announced that they are shutting their doors for the foreseeable future due to the impact of COVID-19. Yet cinemas have been experiencing decreasing customer numbers for a period of time now, and this is due to the rise of at-home popular streaming services. So with companies such as Netflix and Disney Plus showing big films that were intended for a summer release in the cinema this year, and with no end in sight of COVID-19, do we think the cinema industry as we know it is dead?
Now, I have kind of mixed views on this. I think, originally I probably would have said that I think that the cinema industry seems to be dying, but I read in a BBC article that every time there's a new invention, people feel like cinema's going to end. So they said when TV came about, TV's going to end. When games came about, cinema's going to end. When streaming came about, cinema's going to end. But I think COVID is really knocking on doors for cinemas ending. And I think that cinemas are either going to have to evolve or die. And I say that with a heavy heart because I love the cinema. I have a Cineworld ticket. Like, I'm like, you know, their card, their premiership card or their membership card. So you get to see as many
Unlimited
films.
movies.
Exactly.
Yes.
I have that. And like, this breaks my heart. But streaming services just have so much variety. I just don't see how they're going to maintain if they don't drastically change their model.
My heart breaks because I love the cinema. I really do. And so when I was reading about all of this, I was like, no, please, cinema survive. But then I actually had to think about my relationship with the cinema because I used to go to the cinema routinely. Like I went all the time and I thought, why did that change? And it's of course because of money. Because when I was going every week, I was a student, so I got that student discount. And then it was also around the time that Orange Wednesday was happening. So I had the Orange Wednesday on top of the student discount. So it's like one ticket, like 2 tickets for the price of one, but student price on that one ticket. And then me and my friend would split the price. Like it was pennies. It was pennies. And there was a Tesco down the road. So we'd get the popcorn from
Bring
there
the snacks, yeah.
Oh my God.
Exactly. So I think that the difference is now, like I still love to go to the cinema, but it's just not as often because it's not as affordable. And for everyone else, when the price of a cinema ticket is costing relatively the same as the price of a monthly subscription, whereas with the monthly subscription, you're going to get an overload of content, an overwhelming amount of films and documentaries and television shows. Like I understand why people are gravitating away from it a little bit, but I really do believe that like watching a movie on your laptop and watching a movie on the television, it's just not going to beat the cinematic experience. But I agree with Sophie because you said, you know, if you were to reopen, you just have to make some changes. I think people should look at making cinemas more accessible to everyone because, you know, the price of a cinema ticket gradually rose, and the first time that it dropped was in 2018. In 2018 was the first time that the price of a cinema ticket dropped since 2001. And I'm talking about a 10 pence difference.
But this is the thing. In talking about the price of cinema tickets, I read online that they said the average cinema price ticket is like £7 something. Where on earth are those people going? I don't even know. Because when I go cinema and I go to like, let's just say I go to a franchise like Odeon or Cineworld, my ticket is easily £11 to £14, let alone if you want to go to one that's kind of independent and has nicer seating and is a bit more niche. Those tickets will easily cost £15, £16. I've paid £20 for a cinema ticket for a film that you can't find through generic cinemas. So if you're looking for like an art house film that isn't going to be shown everywhere, then you have to pay more for that luxury. So it is a very pricey thing, especially when streaming services. I think Disney's like £6 or something like that. You can't beat that.
You can't. I don't think cinema's dead. Do I think it's dying? Yes, but I think I do agree though with you, Luanda and Sophie, about like if cinemas are going to have to evolve, and I think I almost think there's a great opportunity for them to evolve. Like I think they could come back once COVID is settled. They can come back in this really like niche way of like going to the cinema. Like, you know, once the hipsters get onto something, it's like, oh, it's so cool, I'm going to the cinema instead of a streaming service.
It's retro.
Yes, it's like, oh, that's so vintage. Like I'm telling you guys, that is how I think they would win because because it now needs to focus not just on being a movie, but more on, as you guys have spoken about, the experience. Because people will just go for the experience just to feel nostalgic. Like, oh my gosh, do you remember when people used to get to cinema? Like, it will become one of those things. Do I think it'll be as booming as it used to be? Absolutely not. I, like you guys, have such a love relationship with the cinema.
Yeah.
I grew up going to the cinema every single weekend, and then sometimes in the weekdays, because I grew up around the corner from Peckenplex. It was a 30-second walk from my house to Peckenplex. I used to go to Peckenplex in my pajamas. I used to go
in your pajamas.
I used to go in pajamas and get the late night screening. So I'd walk.
I feel like every week I find something new to judge you on.
I'm not gonna. If you regularly go to Peckenplex, you can understand why it's okay to get away with pajamas. I'll just leave it at that. And so I go to the Peckenplex, and this was when I was like 15, 16. The tickets would be £3 all day, every day. So I used to go to the late night viewing in my pajamas, watch the movie, then go home, go to bed, whatever, right? Now the ticket prices have raised to, I think they're $5.99, which is over years, which is fine. But for a cinema ticket, that still I think is quite a reasonable price. And the only reason why I stopped going to the cinema every week was obviously I moved out of Peckham, and I just going to cinema now is so long because they're so far out of the way. But when I did go to cinemas, I did move on to the Cineworld, and I love me some Cineworld. Their snacks are the best cinema snacks I've ever tasted, period. Like the slush, the popcorn, the hot dog, the ice cream, the pick and mix. Beautiful.
You're a ride or die fan for Cineworld. You're a ride or die
Honestly.
fan.
Guys, I go to cinema all the time. I love it. So
me too.
I think I would if the tickets were £5.99 where I was as well. I'm in the £10, £11 scale with Sophie. Like,
yeah.
I have not seen a £5.99 ticket in at least 4 years.
Oh, really? Well, when I go to Cineworld, obviously it's more expensive at Cineworld, but I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't even know how much the price is in Cineworld. I can't even tell you, but I know it's more
this
than
is the thing.
$5.99.
Without my membership, I wouldn't be going to the cinema as often as I do, and I'll be going like religiously every time something's out. And it really made me think about something that Ava DuVernay said. So she was the director on Selma. She did the documentary 13. She did A Wrinkle in Time. Let's forget that one. I'm not going to say anything about that one, but let's just say she's big time. So the point is, she was saying that when she spoke to the everyman on the street about like her films and Selma or about Moonlight, people like, nope, never heard of them, never seen them. And she said that made her think, actually, why is there so much prestige related to the cinema? Because she was just like, if you actually want to get your art out, you need to get it on television, because when it's only a very select few people that see these big, massive films that go to the Oscars every year. And it's very true. A lot of these films that win Best Picture don't actually get bums on seats because they're so niche or they're focusing on specific issues. And most people want to see like Jumanji with The Rock and they just want a bit of entertainment or something for their children. So she was saying that she's moving away from cinemas now anyway. She's like, I'm going to put my stuff on television like Netflix or there so it can actually reach people. So do you think that this kind of move away from the cinema that we're going to have in COVID because people aren't going is actually going to help people to actually watch more things?
I think so, but I think it's going to kill TV. And the reason why I say that, I think streaming services are becoming so powerful. Like, I don't know if you saw the other day that they announced that Disney Channel in the UK is stopping. I think it's stopping this month. Because
I think it's so cheeky. I think it's so cheeky.
All because people can get Disney Plus. And I'm just thinking to myself, what? No. I grew up being able to click through the channels to get on Disney Channel. Now I've got to have Disney Plus to watch all my Disney fix. It doesn't even make sense. It's not even regular scheduled programming. Besides the point,
I think Disney are blatantly doing it because they're losing all money from all of their Disneyland this, their Disneyland Paris, their Disneyland Florida.
But why would you do this to the children?
Because they're saying Disney makes money by bodies. So we never thought that we were going to have something that was going to stop people going outside or going to theme parks. So what they've had to do is now trying to force everybody onto their streaming network. But I have Disney Plus, and I mean, I don't think it's anything to write about personally. Like I have all the Disney I have all the Marvel films, I have all the things I want to watch. So in terms of subscriptions, I don't personally think Disney is value for money. Whereas Netflix, they're knocking everybody out the park. Amazon Prime is up there. So I think cinemas are really going to struggle, especially when you have someone like Netflix. Netflix is making their own films like Roma or
already nominated for an Oscar.
Exactly, and these are already nominated.
Crazy.
So
and look how
going to have
Orange
a really
is the
tough
New
time.
Black. like routinely would sweep up at the Emmys, you know?
Honestly,
So I see what
peanut.
you're saying, Anissa, about like
They're
it might kill television as well.
It might
but
kill television as well. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
it stresses me out because they were saying that you know, when they had to move quite a few things to streaming or like on demand video, so like Trolls and Mulan and all those things, and they realized they can just earn more money this way. And once you realize you can earn more money, then whatever the other thing was, no matter if the people want it or not, they're going to go for that, because they said they will earn 60% of all ticket sales but 80% of all online distribution sales.
Yeah.
Who, like, if you're a big like money business person, do you think you're going to go for the 60 or the 80? And so like that's why I kind of think like they're going to kill. They might willingly kill themselves.
What I think it might do as well is really, and this is something that my husband said, and I was just like, no, I don't agree with it. But then I read an article, I was like, you know what? He might actually be right. Because
what was it?
as you said, Luanda, like cinemas or production companies make their money off of like ticket sales. So let's say for a Marvel film that they put 300 million into it, because they're expecting that they have to make 3 times just to like break even after they've taken in promotion, production, everyone's been paid. But they're saying if this is going to go straight onto TV and they're not going to make money off cinema tickets, what's their incentive for making this really fantastic film with all these great visual arts and all of that? Because look at the Bond film. They have decided now to push that until next year because they're kind of like, we're not going to make our money back, so we're not putting it out there. So this article was saying how what we could see if production companies only start to make films for television is that they're going to make them shorter, they're going to make them louder, and they're going to make them dumber, because they're like, you have to try and keep people's interest. There are people going to want to sit down and watch a 2.5-hour film that's deep with all these films. They said when you got the doorbell going and your children running around and your phone in your hand, they were like, in order to keep people's attention span, it might actually affect the type of films that they have to make, and that breaks my heart.
Same.
No, I feel that, but the thing that would give me like a little slivering of hope is, you know, how well films like Marriage Story did, because that's not like, you know, it's got Scarlett Johansson in it, but she's not doing Black Widow where it's like big explosions and the whole smash and all that things. Like, you have to pay attention, and it did so well globally. So I do think it kind of opens the market up a little bit to have more types of content, because we have, you know, we're overwhelmed with teen dramas, and we're overwhelmed with action movies.
Oh, yes. Woo! If I see one more Riverdale.
Teen dramas. Take the cake.
From which I watch my fair share. Like, I'm not going to lie, I watch my fair share of teen dramas and my fair share of action movies. I can't lie. But I do, like, in terms of what you were saying earlier about, you know, Moonlight and things like that, I think I had to actually think as well, when I have gone to the cinema in the recent months, what have I been going to see? And because, you know, the tickets on average where I'm at is like £10.50. That's if I like sneak a discount that I don't deserve. So I have to like actually pay attention to like, where am I putting my money? And so I'm going to see all the Black films. Like, I went to see Moonlight. Me and about like 10, no joke, like me and about 10 of my Black friends were like, okay, there's a Black movie. We're going to throw our money at it. Me and my best friend went to go and see Blue Story as soon as it was out. Like, we're not messing about. We know about the revenue, and we want to help drive that.
Same.
So especially because it's like once in a blue moon that you see Black creators, that Black creators are able to make stories with Black protagonists and things like that. So we're like, when that comes out, like, all of us were in the cinemas for Get Out. My Facebook memories gave me a post of like a couple of years ago where the cinema was like erupted in screams and stuff, but all of them were packed out. Like, everyone that went to see Get Out had some interactive experience. Like, everyone was screaming in those cinemas. Like, everyone loved it. It was amazing.
But this is the thing that what you're saying, I think, is so key, Luanda, in terms of you're saying that you and your friends want to throw money at smaller, like, Black films that might not get it, and they're saying that
big Black films.
Big Black films too. But I think
we saw Black Panther as well. Like,
exactly true. But they're saying that it's probably going to be smaller films, not just by Black people, but for people who are just starting out. Or there was a film called Calm with Horses that took 6 years to get made. 6 years to get into the cinema, and because it was coming out this year and it's a small budget film, they didn't have the money to push it because they'd already put out the advertise, and they're like, we have to release it, and they're like, it took 6 years to get out, and the director was like, it breaks my heart because now it's going out at a time when hardly anyone's going to the cinema, and it's going to be these small films that actually need our support that are going to be the ones that are going to be affected the most. Because if you're doing Bond film, you can push that, it's going to cost money, but you're just like, actually everyone's going to go see when it comes out anyway, we can take the risk. But someone like Moonlight is something that would be falling into the gap if it came out now.
Yeah, fair.
So what do the cinemas have to do to stay alive?
Listen, first of all, just like scale back the prices, like a solid £5 for a ticket. Bring those days back.
That is definitely not at this point. I think maybe in the future, yes, in terms of COVID, making the tickets cheaper and you're still having less people.
No, I'm talking about after the restrictions are lifted, when you're trying to get people back in bulk. You need to make it accessible for more people, because going to the cinema, like Anissa, you said, like I used to go all the time growing up. It used to be accessible for everyone, and now it's becoming like a luxury that I can't afford. I'm not happy about that, because I love going. It's now become like I said, it used to be a routine, and now it's a treat. And I think if they want,
this is my thing. How can a man taking you on a date to the cinema and to Nando's be something that's extravagant? This is what I don't get. Because cinemas are so expensive now. It's like, if I'm going to take you out on a date, babe, we're going to stop at the cinema because, you know, if you want snacks.
The snacks, though.
Exactly. And I'm not a go to the shop and bring your snacks in. I'm a buy the snacks in the cinema kind of girl. So you've got to be
bougie kind of girl. You're a bougie kind of girl.
But I want to have a full cinema experience. And there's no full cinema experience without the warm cinema snacks instead of me bringing packaged snacks.
Well, the thing is, though, because I'm a popcorn person, so I like when Butterkiss has long been doing their cinema popcorn, and that's good for me. Like, I won't eat any. I genuinely won't eat any of the brands. I used to when I was a child. But like, I'm all about the popcorn.
Listen,
now.
that large slush puppy with the combo meal. That's my bag.
I will buy a slush puppy. I will do it. I will.
But do you know what the worst thing is for me, though? Is I know you talk about treat as a date, but I think even as a family, it's not even a part of a routine now, because all my nieces and nephews, whenever I'm like, oh, do you guys want to go to the cinema? They're like, no, like, why would I want to be there? Because they've grown up not going to the cinema. They feel like they can watch it at home. And I'm just like, guys, I would have killed if they'd gone to the cinema as a child. It's really devastating.
Yeah.